is happening, ladies? How are you tonight?
Hello.
Good. How are you?
Good. We got some new faces on today. So what's happening, everybody? Eric Meldrum here. And tonight we got a great live. We're going to get into some numbers in real estate. Our goal is to kind of unpack, where we're at with things. This past couple of years have been a roller coaster in real estate. It's been one thing after another, and for rightfully so. We're in uncharted territory, and we don't know exactly where this is going, but we're going to make some sense of it today. So if you're somebody that's been sitting on the sideline or thinking about selling or buying, there's going to be some great info in today's live. But today I'm joined by my trusted co-host, Miss Sophia Cruz. What's up, Sophia?
Hey, Eric. Hey, Eric, Shannon, and everybody.
And we have one of our newest guests on the show tonight, Miss Shannon Mars. Shannon, introduce yourself.
Hi. Shannon Mars, Union Home Mortgage.
So. Yes, thank you. So Shannon is our trusted loan origination partner from Union Home Mortgage, and I wanted to bring her on tonight because she's a wealth of knowledge. When it comes to the mortgage side, there's so many different things that are happening in the real estate market today. So having a trusted team like this team right here by your side is super important because we're hitting it from every angle. Real estate markets are unique to the areas that you're looking in, and then the mortgages. There's a lot of tricks up Shannon's sleeve, and we're going to pull some of those out tonight to help you guys understand how to go about approaching the market, how to go about getting a lower interest rate if that interests you. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to do that, So we're going to get into that, But before we do, we have some things that are going on in the real estate market that questions that we're getting. And I wanted to talk about some of those. Because our goal is to provide as much information and value as we can, on these lives to answer questions that you guys have. So number one, if you are tuning in, let us know where you're watching from. We want some engagement from you. So feel free to ask questions in the comments. We'll be monitoring those. If you do have questions about the market, come on and ask them, because we want to make sure, number one, that you guys are getting the information that you need to move forward, right? We have a lot of people who are relocating to Michigan, come to us on this channel and reach out and ask these type of questions. So, we take a lot of the common questions that we get, from our clients and you guys who are watching, and kind of wrap those up into here. So, Sophia, I wanted to start with that, today, because the topic of today was, is it a buyer's or seller's market? And I've been getting this question from, a few people because they start seeing the days on market start creeping up, and they start seeing price reductions. And some clients are like, hey, I think we're in a buyer's market. And then sellers, you get a seller who's listing their house and they're getting 5 offers, $40,000 over. And it's this like mixed bag of things. So like, what do you think? Are we in a seller's market or a buyer's market?
Well, I was going to say, I feel like we're kind of getting into a balance. Like, I feel like we're headed there, but not 100%. I feel the fact that the low inventory is still affecting the market. So it's still more towards sellers because of the fact that inventory is so low. But, here in Michigan, entering the winter months, things slowing down a bit, I think it does open the door to have more negotiations between buyers and sellers. Whereas when it's just a full on seller hot market, you're, throwing everything at the sellers just to get your offer accepted. So I'd say we're here, but a little bit still towards the sellers because inventory is still just very low.
Yeah, great points. Shannon, what do you think?
I think, again, it's definitely a mixed bag. There's, even in your same community, you can have one that everyone's just like, my house has been on the market for even 12 days or 18 days, and that's a long time. And then someone lists a property and it's got 12 offers. So even when I'm doing pre-approvals now, I tell my clients, hey, this is what to watch out for if the house has been on the market for a little bit. These are some tactics we can use, but it's not a level playing field by any means. So,
yeah, I think you guys nailed it on the head. Like, everybody I've talked to, all the deals that we have going, all the showings and offers that we've written, it is just that. All right. And if you're looking to buy a home right now and you're getting frustrated, like, yeah, I want you to hear this in the most, genuine way, because it's not a one size fits all for everybody. Right. Somebody that may be looking for a new construction home, or, a specific type of home in a certain area, that's really specific. So there may not be that many options, for what you're going for, which may be, a little bit more competition, for those homes. And then on the other side, you could get into areas that have plenty of inventory of what you're looking for, and sellers are just begging you to make an offer on the home. But I think one of the things that is really interesting right now, because I've heard it from buyers, firsthand, is we get into these scenarios where we're looking for homes, and they find what they like, and then they find what they really like, and that one goes for multiple offers, and they're not willing to go above and beyond for that home at the current interest rate. And that's the caveat. Like 6 to 12 months ago, right, when we were seeing these multiple offers, nobody had a problem shelling out $20,000-$30,000 over asking when interest rates were 4 or even 3%. But we're not going back there anytime soon. And that was the thing that struck me. And I totally get it, because we ran the numbers, 6 ways from Sunday. So when we sit down with our clients, we're looking at these things and saying what makes sense, right? What makes sense financially, and then we can see what we're working with. And that's why Shannon, and Sophia and I, work so well together, is we're triangulating this data and trying to understand, like, what's making these decisions, for you. Is it a location? Is it the type of home? Is it, just purely price, and we need a home? And there's some of that, going on. But when it comes to, multiple offers, buyers are stepping up and saying, hey, if I'm going to pay 8%, I want this thing to be turnkey, move-in ready, no updates, right? None of that. And sometimes there's a premium on top of that, because that's what everybody else that's shopping wants as well. So it's almost this double-edged sword, where it's like, if you got a hot property, you got a hot property, and it's competitive, or you're just on the fringe and people are like, I would buy it, but the bathrooms need to be updated and the kitchen needs to be updated for me to really pay what you're asking for the property. So that's the unique thing that I've seen. Sophia, have you seen that as well?
100%, yes. Which is understandable, right? With the interest rates that buyers are facing and having to offer over on a lot of properties. So,
I mean, do you think it's more like a scarcity thing? When it was so hot, people were putting all those bids in, everyone just wanted a property, where now I feel like people feel they have the option, so they're not taking whatever is out there. Do you know what I mean? Like they feel like they can be a little bit choosier. And I think our market literally changes overnight for us. Like we see things changing so quickly. And I don't know that the buyers have caught up yet with all the things that, what their goals are. Is it rate? We can fix the rate right now. Is it the lowest price possible? You might be able to get that. Help with closing costs. These are all really good options right now, which we didn't have for years.
No, we didn't. And I want to go back. I'm going to answer that question, but I want to go back to, the sellers or buyers market, because technically, if you look at the months of supply, we are in a seller's market. Okay, months of supply usually indicate whether we're in a seller's market. 6 months of supply or greater, you start tilting towards the buyer's market. We are at roughly 2.5 months, right? And what that means is if no other homes got listed from today on, in 2.5 months, all the homes on the market would be consumed. They'd be purchased, and there'd be no homes for sale on the market. So when you start looking at these things, and coming back to your question, on what's driving this, and our buyers being a little bit more choosy, and 100% they are, we also have to take a look at the demand, that's out there. One of the things that is underlying of this whole entire thing was we saw this when interest rates went from 3 to 4%. We saw it when it went from 4 to 5%, is the percentage of buyers started getting lower and lower as the interest rate went up. Okay. So the question that everybody should be asking right now is, what happened to all those buyers? Where did they all go? They didn't die, right? I haven't heard of any like new death stat that's like millions of people die and they no longer need homes. Right?
Yeah.
So what happened to them? Where are they?
They're sitting in their 3% homes waiting.
Or renting, or just stayed put where they're at and waiting, for the right moment to get back out there again.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are wanted pre-approved move up, and when it came down to it and they looked at the actual what they're getting for their monthly, they decide to wait.
Yep. So the key word there is waiting, right? People are waiting for something to happen, right? Either interest rates to come down, prices to come down, and they're waiting for that environment to change enough for them to say the right time is now. All right. So this is the one thing that I haven't lost sight of in all of these. And I remind, our team, I remind our clients that, there still is a $6.5 million or 6.5 million unit home shortage in the US. All right. That's what they're estimated to be. All right. Back in like the 50s, 60s, a house was being built for every newborn that was born. Right. So they were kind of keeping up with that as our population was growing, there were new homes being built. Now that hasn't been the case. Right. 2008 just totally shut that down. A lot of the tradespeople got out of the industry. Builders closed up shop. They went bankrupt. Nobody could carry the liabilities anymore. And it was a disaster, right? I don't want to paint that picture and relive that for people who, lived in the 08 disaster and had the stress. But the shakeout of that was now builders are now more cautious, right? Builders are now more cautious of what they're building. And the thing that is also really interesting to me that I learned within the past year is the average age of a builder is now somewhere like 55 years old, where it used to be around 35 years old. Oh, there used to be more builders, young builders, building homes, taking risk, doing that. And now they're getting older. And what we don't see is any new young builders entering the market. All right. There's a few here and there. I've met them. All right. And some are hungry and they see the opportunity in front. Those are the builders that I think are going to do really well if they can put their business hat on, build a good product, have great customer service, provide great warranties, and stand behind their builds. Those are the guys that are going to make it, right, and do really well because they're going to be in demand, right? We need more houses. So 6.5 million home shortage. Builders are not getting into the game like they used to, right? So less builders are building homes. They're being a little bit more cautious with it. Financing is drying up, for a lot of these builders right now, and commercial space, on that side as well. So all of these things are kind of coming together, and you're looking at this, from a singular point. When I'm looking at this from, kind of 30,000 foot view and saying, what does the actual picture look like, right? What are we working with in terms of the demand and the supply that is coming to fruition? Now, you start seeing these, and we talked about this before we got on the show. The average days on market is now 35. Right? It used to be that homes were selling within, 2 weeks. I remember when it was down to like 11 days on market. Well, that's because buyers just took a back seat. All right. Remember, they're waiting. They're waiting for something to happen. Either prices that come back down or interest rates come back down. Now, let's talk about the likelihood of those things happening. And let me preface it with this: the asterisks of our disclosures. Like, we don't have a crystal ball. This is not financial advice. We're professionals in the industry, and we're speculating on what we see So definitely do your own research, have conversations, and make discernment for yourself. But, what are you guys seeing of where this thing could go, into 2024?
Well, I honestly, I mean, I only see interest rates going up, right? Like, and I probably feel that way because that's how it's been, right? We're seeing them go up like every few weeks. It's like, oh, interest rates are every day sometimes, right? It's like, oh, it went up again. So,
Well, good news is the Fed paused today.
Yeah.
Then they decide to unpause out of nowhere. No.
Yeah.
So I'm what I'll tell you what I hope for. How about that? If anything, like if we don't see a decrease, at least not see an increase, And then as for pricing, what I think is going to happen there, I also think that prices are going to continue to go up because we still have low inventory. So until we see that change, prices are going to continue to be high.
Yeah.
Yep. Good. Shannon?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the last, since April of last year, it's just been a constant gradual rate increase. And it's just like, oh, wait for the next, 2 quarters or 3 quarters, and that will come. And then it's been nothing but just constant rate hikes. I think rates might come down next year, but I don't think it's going to be mind blowing. I think it's going to be little adjustments, kind of like what we've seen as the adjustments upward. They're going to be the same down. It is an election year, so if you look at history in that way, then usually they drop quite a bit. So I don't know. But we don't have houses. Again, that drives so much of this that.
Yeah, and that's really the crux of this, right? If you look at that, a lot of people are. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm not. I don't profess to know the answer either, right? It's just this is a great discussion in terms of like, there's history that shows us where things have been, right? The 80s, the 90s, the 08, right? We're tracking back and looking, and you can look back and say, okay, what happened during these recession times? What happened, during them? And when you look at those graphs, I was trying to pull one up earlier and just couldn't find the right one. But, when you look at those graphs, you start seeing, rates go up, home prices come down, right? This is kind of this influx.
Yep.
And then, after the recession, rates kind of tapered off, right? They went up, they went back to normalized, right? They came down, but kind of normalized, but then prices went up, right? Home prices went up. So if we're really looking at history and saying, well, if history repeats itself, what's going to happen after this period, right? The Fed is going so aggressive on the interest rates. And most people would say this is nothing, compared to what we experienced in the 80s, right? With 16% interest rates, on them. Now there's an asterisk there because home prices were not where they're at today, right? So there's a ton to unpack there. I'm not going to get into it just yet, but if we look at history and say, yeah, prices do come down, but then they go back up, right? We could say the same for this. If once we get past this recession, interest rates may normalize and start coming back down slowly, which will do the same thing as we talked about when it went from 3 to 4%. Percentage of buyers moved to the sideline, right? When they went from 4 to 5, from 5 to 6, more and more people started going to the sideline saying, no, that's it for me. I'm going to wait for them to come back down. This is not the end. And then they rose to 8. Now all those people that were, saying I'm not going to buy at 6 are like, crap, I should have bought at 6.
Yep.
Right? I should have got in. And hindsight's 2020, right? Again, nobody has a crystal ball, but if we continue down that, and we say, okay, rates will come back down at some point, Well, what do you think is going to happen to all the people sitting on the sideline over here? Right? They're going to incrementally start re-entering the market because they're going to say, look, I'm not waiting around for this. I'm just going to buy a home and make the decision to purchase the home. Some people need to buy a home just to have a shelter, right, for the family, right? I know people that have moved in with family, right, temporarily thinking we're going to buy a home because we sold that one. We're going to buy a home. We've moved in with family, and they're like, crap, now they're to the point of like, yeah, this I love my family, right? I love my family to death, but living with them every day, ooh, I don't know about that. All right, so now they're saying like, I'm gonna go just buy a home because I need one, right? I need some privacy for my family. So like these things are real, this is what's happening, in today's age. But again, I think more people are going to start re-entering as those rates, start incrementally coming down, which again is going to cause pressure on the market because there's still not enough homes, right? Buyers are being choosy, and I think people have waited long enough right now that they're starting to feel that angst of like, okay, I waited it out. What is the breaking point for me personally, where I just say, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice and just do it, right? Just make the decision. Now, the thing that I want to go back to, because two years ago, this is where, and this is not a new product, but there was a 2-to-1 buy down or a 3-to-1 buy down, right? That was kind of coming through, and the buzzword, around that was date the rate, marry the house. Right. I absolutely hate that saying, by the way. Like, absolutely hate that saying for one specific reason, because again, nobody has a crystal ball. Now, the lending practices are completely different. Right. They have to qualify for that higher interest rate on a 2-to-1 buy down. And for those of you who don't know what a 2-to-1 buy down is, it's getting a lower interest rate for year 1 and year 2 of your fixed mortgage. Okay, so if it was a 7%, first year would be 5%. That'll be calculated for your monthly payment. The next year would be 6%, and then it graduates to 7%. Okay, so it's really beneficial to get kind of a cost savings year 1, year 2, but eventually you're going to mature to this 7% interest rate, and you have to qualify for that right off the bat. And so they're not handing these things out like, oh, you can qualify for a 5% interest rate. Here you go. You had to qualify for the 7%, which is good because people needed to be able to afford whatever that was going to be.
Yeah.
But the thing that was so irking to me of even having the conversation with clients was like, yeah, this is good. You can afford it, but don't do this if you're banking on interest rates just coming down and refinancing, because there could be no opportunity to do that. And we're seeing that firsthand right now, right? The situation has gotten worse rather than better,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people who are banking on that going to 5 or 6% within this 2-year period are now faced with a 7% mortgage. And they're like, well, it is what it is. Better than 8.
Yeah.
Better than 8%, So, those things are happening, but so Shannon, what are some things that are taking place right now on the mortgages? Because again, people are going to start re-entering, but having solutions, and this is what we talk about with our clients, is having solutions and a game plan to go out and make aggressive offers, make creative offers. Right, we've been getting more creative. Let's kind of talk through some of that.
So, I mean, again, the 3-2-1 buy down it has become a very popular tool. But I guess, first of all, it's really important to know your client and know their goals. Again, like some people are just fixated on that rate. Other people could care less about the rate, and they want, they don't have the cash to close, so they want help in that area. Or they, some people are just like, honestly, I'll marry the house, date the rate. I just want the lowest possible, I want 6% off the purchase price. So I think right now is a really good time to come in and kind of figure out what you want and then make that goal happen for you. Where if multiple offers, the market is dictating what you offer versus what what's important to you to make that offer, to get the homes, to make it worth it for you. Instead of bringing 30 grand out of cash, how many years it would take to make up that 30 grand in like a point of interest rate that you're unwilling to pay right now. I mean, so you can pay that for a couple years, maybe spend 10 grand extra, and then you're in the house you want and then get a rate you want.
Yeah. So definitely a different way to look at it. Right. And this, I think you make a great point, on this, because taking a look at what's ahead of us, with the housing market, yes, there could be, some signs that we may see more price reductions, right? We may see prices go lower in the market, but over a longer period of time, do we think it's going to remain that way?
No.
Yeah. So
this is a window. This is a short window. That's why.
Yeah. And I never like, throwing predictions out there, but we have enough history, to show us that over a longer period of time, real estate as an asset class, it appreciates, right? And there are cycles, right? There are bust and boom cycles in it. We've seen some of those, in our lifetime. Question is are we in one now? Right? Are we in a bust cycle? And there's a lot of indicators to lead us to believe that we may not see the bust that everyone is hoping for, right? Yeah. Just because of the sheer demand for housing, right? This is the lowest point we've ever seen inventory. This is the most amount of demand we've had for houses, but a lot of people just aren't taking action on it, right? So, there's a lot of folks that are wishing they could do it, and they're getting creative with it, which is, there's just released on the FHA that they are now lowering the down payment for multifamily.
Yes, I was just
right.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this type of stuff as a real estate investor, as a professional, or somebody that is buying their first home. You guys, if you're buying your first home and you're a first-time home buyer, go check out. Let's talk about multifamily, right? Because this is the most genius thing. If I would have known this when I was 20 some years old,
And Eric, you don't even have to be a first-time home buyer. You just have to make it your primary. You can already own a home and move into a house with 4 doors with 5% down. It's mind-blowing. If people aren't jumping all over that, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it becomes more and more. My mind immediately goes to my younger self. That's why I say first-time home buyers. I'm my mind immediately goes if I would have known this information when I was younger, right, I would have taken more action on it. But so what we're talking about, just to kind of reel everybody in here. So multifamily is anything beyond 1 door. Okay, so you have a duplex, triplex, quad. Once you start getting into more above that, above 4 doors, it starts becoming commercial. So if you can stick to 1 to 2 or 2 to 4 doors, you can stick in the residential real estate realm, okay, which will allow you to take out an FHA mortgage on the property, and the down payment for that is only 5%. Okay, so you can actually here's the kicker. Okay, so let's say my younger self wanted to buy a fourplex, and that fourplex is $300,000. Okay, and I'm going to live in one of them. I'm going to make it my primary residence, and the other 3 you're renting out. Okay, so if you get those rented, you can actually take those rents, Okay, you don't have to qualify for the full 300,000 with your income. You can take those rents and then use those as income to offset that property. Right? I'm gonna let Shannon go into the details where I steer this wrong, but done this enough times to know that's 100% right. So you can use that as the income for the property, which lowers your taxable income that you need to actually purchase that property. Right? So if you're thinking like I could never afford a $300,000 home on my current salary, you probably can. Right? If those units are fully rented out and you can prove that they're rented and you have leases, you can use that and you can go right into it. Right? Some people have bought duplexes, and the other unit pays the whole entire mortgage with that, and you're basically living for free, right? Building an asset and having depreciation. So this is we're going to talk more about this as the weeks go on, but like this was huge news, right?
Huge news.
FHA dropping it to 5%.
It's actually conventional. So FHA, you could always do a 3.5% on 1 to 2 doors. But once you jump to 2 to 4, it was, I think, 15%. It might jump to 20, but it's conventional. So this is for every market. Like I know some markets, FHA still is not great to go through, but on a conventional, it's 1 through 4 doors is all 5%. And it used to be 15 for the 1 to 2 doors and 25 for doors 3 and 4.
Yeah. So what this is telling me, and I'm going to answer Juice's question with this, but what this is telling me is that these agencies now see this as well, and they are now making it more affordable for people to go buy multifamily, right? Or I shouldn't say more affordable, easier. Right? The barrier of entry is now easier, to go buy multifamily. People are going to need places to rent, right? If they're not buying homes, what do you think they're doing? Either living with mom or dad or renting.
Yeah.
Right. So that's going to continue to put pressure on them. So Juice is asking, will it affect rent prices? Will they keep going up next year? The short answer is, I think so. I think, if the housing prices, continue to take, a pretty aggressive approach to where we're at, and they stick with where we're at, and here's the one thing that I want to, kind of shine in here is we have seen such a dramatic increase in appreciation on homes over the past 3 years that some homes are up anywhere from 40 to 60%. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, when we start seeing price decreases in this market, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, like, the prices are falling from the sky. But when you annualize that over a 5-year period, you say, well, it actually comes out to like 5% appreciation year over year, right? We're kind of back on track of where we were. We're just getting that slight correction on some homes. And I would say most homes are even making out, above that. But that's the point I wanted to make on this is like, even if prices do come down, rents still need to be made, with that. They need to be on par, with, what people are purchasing and that demand. So I think they're going to continue to go up. If people aren't buying, they're going to continue to rent. That market is going to get pressure. Yeah. The rental market's going to get pressure, and those will likely go up, pushing people to, get to that point again where like rent's too high. I might as well just buy. I'm paying the same price.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm just 100% interest every single month.
Every month. Yep.
So what else is out on the mortgage side? We talked about multifamily. There's some other products for what about people that don't have W-2 income or stated income?
So there's a lot of good product out there I do want to touch on one thing too that's very new that conventional Fannie Mae is doing as well for that self-employed borrower. Used to be you had to be in business 2 years, and they just came out 1 year, and you can get a loan. So And we have people in my company. It doesn't actually come out till mid-November, but we have people doing it in the company already. We're pushing it through so that those people don't have to wait another year to sit on the sideline. But
So self-employed people out there, if you're self-employed, you have to wait 2 years for your
normally you have to wait 2 years you have to have 2 tax returns with your income. And now we just need 1 year of start to finish work.
Is that only for self-employed buyers?
If you want to use the conventional product, like, conventional, like 3% primary. Now, like what Eric was saying, for the investor or people that maybe don't show income on their tax returns, so using your tax returns really isn't beneficial for you. There's a lot of, it's non-QM loans. And there's like a debt service loan, for example, really good for investors. And it's only based on your credit is pulled. And then you identify a property that is either a short-term or long-term rental. And then we'll do an appraisal based on the rental history in the neighborhood. And as long as it doesn't even have to cash flow, it has to be to 1-to-1. It just has to pay for itself, and you're qualified. It's a 30-day, closed one in 30 days. And she was very complicated. She had 26 properties. So, I mean, it's a really good product. Because there's no skin in the game, your rate's going to be a little bit higher. Her rate was in the 9s, and we closed last week. Yep. But it's a really easy, instead of finding hard money or finding other ways to get income, this is a really good product.
Yeah. So walk everybody through that again, because most people don't know the term DSCR.
It's called a debt service loan. So, so the loan is only based on the property's ability to rent. So if you're sitting in a short term, like let's say we do a lot of business in Disney, right? So Disney's a short-term market. So if you look at the home sitting next to that, what do they get for their short-term rent? Now, if that pays for whatever the current rate is on the brand new property, the taxes, insurance, principal, interest, homeowners insurance, as long as it covers it 1-to-1, does not have to cash flow, you can go through. And my client actually had a really good credit score. She was in like 740s. And so they let her drop down to 0.75%. So it didn't even have to cash flow. It was actually negative, and it still qualified.
It was negative cash flow, and it still got approved.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And what is the down payment requirement for those?
Again, it's very heavy on your credit score. So, but it's 20 is the minimum with the best credit score. And then it graduates up to like 30%. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, we're going through these as options, right? People who are looking at, purchasing, and they're not getting the traditional. Talk about some alternatives, right? If you're somebody that, is looking to build wealth, cash flow, multifamily is a great one, right? They have a 5%, program. They have a 15%. What was the 1-to-2 door that got dropped down? Was it 5%?
So the conventional will do 1-through-4 at 5. And then FHA has always done 3.5%, 1-to-2 door. And then I think it's 15% doors 3 and 4. Okay.
So there you go. So there's some options there on the multifamily side, right? To start house hacking, building that. And that's a great way, if you're young, or you're somebody that's looking, to purchase a home, and you're not getting what you want in the single family, look at multifamily, because there's some deals out there, as long as the numbers make sense and those rents, can cover basically all of the mortgage. It's a great way to build some wealth. And then if you are self-employed, like all of us, then you're 1099. Some changes have occurred. You no longer need 2 years of tax returns. You can drop down to one full year of tax returns for self-employed to purchase. And then there's some DSCR loans, which is debt to coverage ratio, on these loans, and you can go in and get rental properties, and all you need to do is, if it's not rented, you just need to prove that the property can rent, and it will get approved, right, based on rents in the area. So
And that
definitely.
DSCR loan, you can do up to 8 doors.
Okay, so you can go into commercial with that,
Mm-hmm.
which is great.
Yeah.
So again, if you're punching into building up your portfolio with short-term rentals or long-term rentals, these are great programs. So Shannon, thanks for sharing all that. Those are great options out there. If you guys do have questions about anything mortgage related, Shannon's a great resource. Just reach out to us. We'll get you in touch with Shannon. She services a lot of our clients, from here at Michigan to Florida. She's been great. I wouldn't have her on the show if she wasn't a fantastic person and treated our clients with the utmost respect of how we treat our clients.
She's amazing. Shannon, you make me a stronger agent. Honestly, like, you are incredible. The knowledge that she has, the relationships that she makes with the clients, that I refer over to her. Like, everybody loves Shannon. One client dubbed you the Beth Dutton of mortgages. I don't know if you're into Yellowstone, but Beth Dutton is like a beast on that show. So one of the clients like, she's my Beth Dutton. I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if she watches that show. So like, she's great. And yes, thank you. I feel much stronger with you as part of our team.
Yeah. It's a team effort. My job is to make you guys look good. So
thank you. You do a good job.
You do it well. You do it well. Yeah. So, what are some other common questions that you guys are getting, from borrowers, from clients? What else are we seeing in the market today?
Like, on what specifically? Just mortgages, or?
I think people are just scared. I think there's just fear in a lot of area. We have like one client with the government shutdown. I think there's just a lot of things going on right now. There's
a lot of fear out there. Yes.
And so I think that it's just been like a door shut, almost like people just stepping back, like, I'm going to rent, and they're not renters. So I don't know. Yeah.
Now, the thing I always ask, and we have these conversations, on our team calls, when we hear these type of things, like, I'm gonna take a break from the market, and we're gonna take a step back, and it's always this curiosity of like, what has caused that, right? Because the desire and need for a home hasn't necessarily gone away, so there must be something else, right? And we always like to ask the questions, which can lead to getting the answers. Is like, okay, well, what does the market need to look like, for you to do something? Sophia and I have had this conversation, so many times, is like asking this question of what does the market need to look like for you to do something, right? It really takes that pressure off, because we're not the team that's like buy, right? Like, you'll never hear that from us, right? If you do, let me know. I will take care of that. But we're not that team, right? Yeah. We don't. We're advocates for our clients and making the smart, financial decisions and life-changing events that come along with it, right? We're blessed to be a part of real estate transactions that involve, new families, right? Job relocations, which are always exciting. That means we're having new opportunities. We're getting higher on the pay scale, for some people in their jobs. And then we also have the opposite of that, which is death, divorce, right? Those things need to happen. They happen, frequently. So, we're in these life-changing moments, and we're getting close with our clients. And when they pull back, right, it's almost like they don't want to say, specifically why, But when we open up that question to kind of make it nonchalant of like, hey, I'm not prying, right? Like what needs to change for you guys to move forward? It kind of brings the defenses down and the guard down. It's like, we want to know how to best help, right? And a lot of times when we ask a question and they say, well, the rates just got too high for us, right? Now we can be on solution. Now we can be on alert of, okay, let's move into solution mode.
Yep.
All right. Let's triangulate, the team that we have and say, what can we do? Right. As we just talked about, there's loan programs, there's different strategies to go in and get the rate bought down. We could use sellers funds for that. They may have a large chunk and they could buy it down themselves, right, if they really wanted to. Right. So again, there's knowing what the struggles are really help us problem solve. And that's what we're really good at. All right. That's the thing I want to kind of leave with tonight is, the market right now is not for everybody. Okay. Technically we're in a seller's market. Okay. It's just based on the months of inventory. But the reality is people are still relocating. People are still moving. I've seen Costco, grocery stores, gas pumps, movie theaters, bars, restaurants packed to the nines. So it's not like anybody has stopped spending.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen more activity. People are out in full force.
Buying cars, spending
buying
13%
cars
on a car. The car payment is more than their mortgage.
Kids' birthday parties. Have you guys ever seen like people celebrating their kids' stuff like on TikTok? They look like these huge extravaganzas, like these night gala parties, and it's just a kid party. People are spending a lot of money on doing a lot of different things.
Absolutely. So I'm always a curious guy. Like I ask a lot of good questions, and when I'm looking at some data, in the industry of interest rates are high on mortgages, interest rates are high on cars. And if you haven't been car shopping, that's a sticker shock. Recently things are getting a little bit crazy. But then you hear things like the credit card debt is through the roof. It's higher than it's ever been, right? Which is indicating. And then you hear, people, experts, I won't name any names, but people that I follow, that are saying, hey, Americans are going to be out of money in January 2024. They're going to be out of money. So I'm like, is that true? Because it doesn't feel that way. Like everybody is out full force, right? Restaurants, all the places I just mentioned, like they're just out, right?
Yeah, if it's on credit at some point.
Well, I'll tell you, I think, I don't know the number, but we go through this on our live calls that we have all these houses that have all this equity, right? So people aren't buying, but people are not afraid to refinance their house right now. I have more refinances in my pipeline than I have actual loans. And it's
interesting.
And it's the credit cards now are like 36%. Car payments are like through the roof, 13%. Just other debt. And I got someone down $1,200 a month on their bills, and it was in this market. So yeah, people are using all their credit cards, but eventually their house is where their money's at. So they're going to have to either sell or I don't know.
There's only so many refinances you can do until it runs out, right?
Yeah.
Unless prices go up again.
Right. Which they will, but I mean, we're in a definitely interesting time. And to your point, Eric, it does seem like nobody's stopping spending. Like everything is full. People are still doing their 2 to 3 yearly family trips, whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Well, good. This has been great, guys. We're gonna wrap this up. So if you guys do have questions for myself, Sophia, Shannon, definitely drop a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe. We come live every Wednesday at 7 with real estate news or things happening in the community here in Southeast Michigan. So we definitely want you guys to tune in. if you are thinking about relocating to Michigan, we are the best team here for you. So definitely reach out or schedule a Zoom call with us. We'd love to connect with you one-on-one, come up with a game plan to get you here to Michigan, help you make that smooth move here. And then you guys, is there anything you want to leave the audience with tonight? Takeaways from today?
Well, I was going to say, just to go off your message, Eric, like if you guys want to get more in depth about the market, talk real estate, like we have a Zoom calendar link. I think, Eric, you always link it, right? Like,
Yep.
just have a Zoom with us. Like, it's just like this, but one-on-one. It's no pressure, and you can ask us anything you'd like, and you know, we would love to like just sit and talk to you about it, and like he said, get a plan together if you are ready to make a move. But even if you're not ready to make a move, like there's nothing wrong with still scheduling a time to talk with us, even if you're not thinking about moving right away.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it should be a partnership when you're working with. It shouldn't be scary. You know, working with a realtor or a lender. I always tell my clients, like, my job is to tell your story. So let's figure out your goals, your story, and, you know, make this happen for you. And I think that helps the process smoother, and you ultimately getting what you want out of this transaction, because let's face it, it's the biggest one that you'll ever make in your life. So it shouldn't be made by walking into an open house and you know, just using that whoever. Like it, you should really make sure that you connect with the people that you're working with, because this is a big deal.
Yep, absolutely. I don't think I could have said it any better than that. Thank you, Shannon. All right, guys. Well, you know, this has been great. So again, if you guys have questions, make sure you reach out to these ladies. You got Sophia's handle right there for her socials. Mine is right here. You can connect with Miss Shannon Mars through us if you want to get a hold of us. And you can always look her up on the internet. She's in there, right? Realtors and loan officers, they're easy to find because we want you to find us. So, all right. Well, good, guys. Well, thanks for plugging in tonight, and go out and have an awesome day.
Thanks
See
for
you.
having me.
Bye. See ya.
Bye.